Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. In today's episode of Psychic Investigations, I'm going to be doing an update for Summer Wells, and I am recording this on the 16th of January 2024. So it will probably be uploaded my time the 17th, possibly your time the 16th in the States. So here we go. All right. Now, why has this case popped up again? I believe Summer has been making contact with me over the past month. Now, I did do this case. In fact, it was probably one of my very first videos. In fact, it was one of my very first. And in my earlier videos, I would do videos purely on a spirit basis, as a psychic and as a medium. I didn't really use numerology that much in the earlier videos, although I used it a little bit in the background. But, and you know, I had such a overwhelming experience while doing the Summer Wells case. It was so profound, and I believe Summer has been pinging me, and I believe now it's 3 times, right? So what has she been pinging me about? The big bold letters, and I'm not shouting, just so we can read it if you're on a mobile device or a smaller screen. The image I've been getting is of an oil drum. So I'm going to be looking for psychically for a drum, and I believe it's of a oil drum, those big oil drums. The red is the base color. There's also a large amount of black, and possibly paint. It could have been the base color is red, and you know, they keep selling these drums around that they just paint. At one stage it got painted over black, and there's like a patch of red visible as well. And this image has been pinging on me, I would say 3 times over the course of the past month. Okay. And I thought, let me, because I'm doing quite a bit of numerology in my current videos, I thought, let's just break down the numbers again and let's have a look at it from a fresh point of view. I must say, I don't normally like doing this because I believe when I get the reading, I get the reading. But in this case, I believe we have a clue. And of course, that clue is this red drum. So how did we get to this red drum? And then lies the sequence of events that I believe occurred to Summer Wells. And right, so the reporting of her, and I know I've written a whole bunch of stuff here, but I'm just setting up the context. The date given to police where she supposedly went missing was on the 15th of June 2021. Now, that for me already is problematic because we have the outcome 21-3. And isn't this significant that when we're dealing with crimes of a kidnapping type nature, remember in the previous video, I believe, it's of a kidnapping nature, but unlawfully so. And I mean, I'll get to what I've written here shortly, but it's in the sense of kidnapping someone forcefully. There we go, by force and entrapment. Do you know what I mean? It's by against someone's will. I mean, of course, but that seems to be the situation in a lot of crimes where, of course, people are lured into a situation. But so let's get into this. So obviously, when the case broke and thereafter, there was a lot of speculation around, was there a kidnapping? Was she sold? Was there a human trafficking organization involved? in my opinion, I don't believe that is the case in this case. I believe Summer was murdered at home. And that is reflected in the number 6, where we see the 15, that is a 15-6. That alerts me at home, where she was forcefully held against her will. Okay? And I'll explain how that happened. It would have been a maximum of 24 hours, and I believe, unfortunately, she did pass on that day, or within 24 hours. And unfortunately, I do believe, and I don't like releasing sensitive information, and there's some parts I won't release, but Summer did want me to say that it was terrible. So how did we get into this situation? So I believe it was death by strangulation, suffocation, 16-7. We see the presence of the 16-7 the following morning. And 16-7. In the and I believe, indicated by the 16-7, in the early hours of the morning, because where that 16-7 is sitting is between midnight and 6 a.m. And maybe I shouldn't read. So I believe that the murder actually occurred at home. I don't believe there was a kidnapping ring at all. I believe the murder took place at home. You see that in the 15-6. And we have the 6 month. And it just significantly as well pings directly on Summer's birthday. Her life path number 15-6 pings directly on there. And I believe the course of events started pretty much the day before, that led up to the situation where I believe she was strangled, died by suffocation at home by her parents, whether directly or indirectly, and I'll explain that. I believe both parents, so I believe there were actually 3 or 4 people, maximum 4 people, but definitely 3 to 4, 5 max, 3 to 4 people. Adults who were present at this situation. They were witness or knew of the situation that took place and was about to take place, because I believe something happened to Summer that created, and this sounds terrible actually, jeez. A situation was created. Summer was obviously in trouble. They did something wrong to Summer, and I'll get into that, right? But as a result of that incident, a decision was made to effectively murder Summer Wells. And I believe the situation started on the 14th, the day before. Now, I know when we're dealing with children and cases involving children, it's obviously a very sensitive situation. And of course, as I mentioned, I'm not going to be disclosing too much, but I would say the force and entrapment that was done upon Summer Wells, obviously there was physical harm. The revelation I received, all adults were to rather cover up the crime of what they did to Summer, not the death. Her death happened because of what they did to her. As a result of their actions and because of what they did and the consequences of those actions, the decision was made rather to kill Summer Wells, or if you want to say, silence her. And I believe there was a small group of adults the day before. I'm telling you, the day before there's a problem. We've got the 14-5. We've got men behaving badly. We've got a small group behaving badly. There's adult males on the scene. There's a situation. You know, a six is the most beautiful number, in my opinion. The number 6. And I'll hopefully over time explain why I'm a life path 6. In fact, I have the same life path number as Summer Wells, 15-6. And this is the thing with people with 6s. They attract each other. In this case, Summer's story are connected immediately. There's an easy connection between people with 6s. And you'll find there's always a lot of connection between people with 6s. And this is why I believe the case came to me in the first place, is because she's a life path 6, right? Like I am. About the visions, the visionary. Okay, so you know, I was, like I mentioned, I was a bit hesitant about looking at it again because, you know, I've done it, which is probably not a bad, which is not a great way of thinking about it. But the exception, obviously, like I mentioned earlier on, is the drum. And having re-looked at this, I'm actually very grateful that I looked at this again, because it's given me a clearer picture of what happened. And of course, I haven't looked at the case in over a year. So it's afforded me a fresh look at the case. And of course, I've developed in my intuitive numerology. So unfortunately, we have a situation before, I believe, a group of men, elderly men, older men, having a little bit of a party, shindig. Things get out of hand with the children. And there's an outburst, there's a fight, argument. Summer is not going to put up with this nonsense. 15-6. Then what happens is there's obviously the realization she's going to spill the beans or whatever the situation is. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I'm not going there. But we see between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., so during the day that day, she was held against her will for whatever reason, cause, or manner. And I can tell you now, the 26-8 is not good at all. Unfortunately. Not good at all. That for me is the killer blow, devastating. And unfortunately, that's where the drum comes in. I believe Summer Wells, I believe now, because of the pinging, and I've done a bit of meditation on it, Summer Wells was disposed in a drum. And the question I asked was, is this drum accessible? Is this drum still around? Where is this drum? And I received an answer. I believe the drum can be reached still. And I've written here, technically, visually, and feeling around the drum. Hold on, I'm getting another image. Well, let's start with the first image. There's something else coming. Technically, the drum would be considered out of place. So the drum would have happened to be at a particular location because of a need. And I'm not necessarily talking about the need of the parents. Now, this is all alleged, right? Because it has to be proven in a court of law, right? But I believe the remains of Summer Wells can be found in the drum that's out of place. Now, the drum would have been placed there for a reason, like it could be at some kind of company business warehouse situation. where normally you wouldn't have this kind of drum, but because something happened at the property, they used this drum to solve the problem at the warehouse, if that makes any sense. And as a means of convenience, it was left there. It's almost like it's in plain sight. The drum is in plain sight, and I believe maybe I'm also picking up that the black, when I talk about the black paint, I'm getting a bit of texture as well. There could be black within the drum as well. And I believe it's in plain sight. I believe it's in plain sight. And you know, when we look further on to the next day, unfortunately, that 16:7 tells me that's the suffocation. It's the human being, the number 6, being suffocated with the outcome 7. Now, I also just want to highlight a point here of numbers and similar meanings. So, for example, in a previous episode, I said number 4 is the human body, right? So number 4, if we want to get technical about it, the number 4 is the anatomy of a human body. So the anatomy. So we get in, 4 is more the medical human body number, right? So from a physical, from a medical point of view, right? Whereas in this case, we've got the human 6. Of course, there's one human in distress, obviously dies by suffocation, and that suffocation could either be brought about a couple of other means, right? I actually didn't look at it that way before, and I'm not going to look at it that way. You know, when I started my channel, my mission was really just to look at missing kids cases, because I felt that the kids are most vulnerable in these crime situations. And of course, many other people are vulnerable for various reasons. Just because you're male doesn't mean you susceptible to crime, for example. Okay? So what I'm saying is, the emotional impact on doing children's shows, missing kids, I mean, even after 6 episodes, because that's how many I did, the impact was just too much. And that's why I incorporated numerology into my readings, just to create a separation, because we're dealing with such heavy negative material, that I use the numerology to provide the buffer. Of course, when I'm inputting the numbers, of course I get revelations, and I'm an empath anyway. I'm going to get reactions, which I'm talking myself out of one now. So, heavy material. So unfortunately, on the following day, the 16/7, we see that means of death, strangulation. We see the death in the 13/4, and and then the outcome, the 18/9. That for me seals the deal in terms of the speculation. Or I'm not saying speculation. Everyone has their right to their theory based on however it means they get that to that theory. But in my opinion, because it did cross my mind, I was aware of it, but in my first reading, I didn't pick that up. And now looking at it through the lens of numerology as well, I'm definitely not picking up. You would want to see numbers like 10. Hold on. I'm having it's staring me right in the face. There is a 20 on the scene. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me meditate on this, because what I was going to say, and I thought, let me cut here and let me rethink this, meditate, but let's do it for real, right? So I'm not going to cut. I'm just going to let it roll. Because what I was going to say, you'd want to see numbers like 10, 20, 30, 40, 1. You would also want to see numbers like 16, 7 could be that as well. Kidnapping. But you know what still tells me that it's not is that 14-5. Because the 14-5 is more of a personal, I know the person who's harming me. Okay? That 14-5 is either the father or the uncle, or a known male to the family, older male, 14-5. So that's what tells me, unfortunately, that it is a home situation, and also the presence of the sixes. Now, because obviously we're in a 6 month, so there's going to be stronger energy from the 6, right? And the 6 is all about home, family, friends. And I believe on the 14th, there was I don't know what day that was. All I did on this episode, for disclosure, sorry, I didn't disclose this up front. All I did was I just took the reported date. That's all I did. I didn't go back to my previous episode. I didn't reread any articles. All I did was grab a couple of pictures because I was happy I just did it with the numbers. That's all. And of course, I have pre-knowledge of the case. But I haven't refreshed myself with detail, let's put it that way. So, and also that 25-7, because the 7 would indicate kidnapping. But again, the combination of the numbers is not working for me. If we go the route of a kidnapping ring or organization. And 2 is also very close to home type number. It's personal emotions. It's someone harms someone and she has an outburst type thing. There are other numbers that should be around if you're looking at, and I'm just trying to think. I did a show where I believe I stumbled upon a human trafficking ring. But you would want to see numbers like 11-2, for example, 12-3. You see, what also seals it for me, that when I say there's a group of friends that found themselves in a situation, and that could be mother, father, and I believe she had a sister around, whoever, I can't even remember now. I think there was a sister there. But let's say it's between 3 and 5 adults, maximum 5 adults, maximum. So it's a small group of adults that are, whatever they're doing, having fun, but it's naughty, bad, wrong fun. And it gets out of hand. And there's an outburst. It's all personal. And that 15-6 is also, unfortunately, dirty old men. Entrapment. And causing physical harm, the 8. And because of their actions, there's a murder. So let's ask the question, was she murdered accidentally or intentionally? And what I believe is because there's an 18-9, 8 is communication. And I believe, and even the day before, you see, between 6 p.m. and midnight on the 15th, there's an outcome about communication as well. The outcome about communication is that there's a problem with a human being, and there's more than one person involved. So there's pre-knowledge of a plan, or there's an awareness of a situation that needs to be resolved. And there must have been an agreement, or let's say not even an agreement. There's definitely a knowledge or knowing of the situation. There's 8s around. There's knowledge about the situation. Knowledge and information about the system, definitely. 18-9. About the death, 13-4. And that 3, 13-4, that 3 is a female. Physically, is it anatomically? Excuse my terms. 4 is the anatomy. And, because and this is actually a good news, if there's any good news here, is the crime happened in a 5-year, 2021, 2 plus 2 plus 1 is a 5. The fact that it happened in a 5-year means at some point there will be full disclosure about this case. At some point, you and I will know what truly took place here. We might not know, and obviously we might not know 100% of the truth, but we'll certainly know enough of the truth to know what happened and took place between the 14th and the 16th of June 2021. So, no excuses. I've had a long day already today. It's so weird. Cases are just pinging on me at the moment. So, let's go with the flow. But I just want to put a disclaimer out. I'm going to take some time over the next few days. I want to do a meditation on this drum. I believe we've been given a clue of a drum that seems to be out of place. That technically, yes, it would make sense that it's there, but technically it wouldn't have been there before something happened, or an event, or under normal circumstances it wouldn't be there, but it was there because of something happening. And I believe it's in plain sight. All right, so let's keep an eye on this. It's pinging on me for a reason, so I will do more on this. I got into the days that the event happened, and Summer Wells, what a incredible energy this young person was and is still. And lovely numbers. I must say, the double 9s in the year that she's born, 2016. I tell you, it would already been, but as she gets older and maturer, she would have been like a brain box. She could have been like the next Einstein, was what she could have been with those 9s. And when you have like the 6s there, visionary stuff, visionary. And with that 4 facts, figures, there's that 2 emotion, that 2 pings on that, the 14th pings on her as well. Like I said, I thought I did enough about the show, but I'm picking up new information here. And of course, all the 6s ping on her. We've got the outcome of the 16th of June as the 9. Gosh, man. Adults, not all adults, adults behaving badly to innocent children. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I will make an announcement if I have a next update. I'll keep looking at it. I will meditate on this drum. And as soon as I have that information, let's say that, I'll promise that. As soon as I get the information, I will develop it and send it out. All right, thank you for your time today. I know it's a little bit of a long video, but, these cases with kids are just something else. All right, and you stay safe and look after yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.